Hello, Truth Seekers. This is your Conspiracy Laws host, JB. Welcome to episode 15. Today we're going to blow the lid off the NRA's research into gun deaths and why they introduced the Dickey Amendment of 1996. So, we have previously touched on the NRA's control of how we look at mass shootings, how they're kind of controlling the conversation there. They're using it to boost gun sales. They're trying to get us afraid that the government's coming to take our guns when that is not true at all. Uh, but we're going to look at another tool they are using to boost gun sales by squashing research into gun deaths. Um, so let's start with a little history lesson because this has been going on for a few decades. So, in the early 1990s, the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more commonly known as the CDC, they started looking into ways to prevent gun related deaths because it was a big problem. That's kind of part of their job to do research that will save lives and kind of inform public policy. And so a lot of people were dying from being shot, uh, murdered, even accidentally. So they they started doing research into it, and in fact, they even had a 1993 study that proved that homicides increase when there is a firearm in the home. That should, I mean, people argue, well, you could kill someone with anything, a kitchen knife, a lawn chair. Um, but the evidence shows that homicides are more common when there's a firearm in the home. So obviously, this made the NRA upset because people who don't want to be killed are suddenly going to stop having guns in their home. Uh, the NRA did not want the truth getting out about how harmful their product is. And so they actually tried to shut down the CDC altogether. Um, they thought the agency should just be destroyed. And these are facts. Like you can look it up anywhere. There's many articles about this, peer-reviewed journal articles, everything. It's out there. They tried to shut down the CDC. It seems insane to me, um, but that's what they tried to do. And I mean, this isn't just an agency that attacks the NRA. They do stuff like keeping the Ebola, the Black Plague, any zombie breakouts or outbreaks from killing all of us. It's really an important organization. Anyway, the NRA failed, needless to say, the NRA failed to shut down the CDC. Uh, but Representative Jay Dickey from Arkansas snuck a provision into the 1996 spending bill that made it illegal to use federal funds to research gun violence. It's that is messed up. Like, why? What is the reason behind that? Why? What possible reason could someone have for wanting to stop the research into gun violence? Um, this amendment, by the way, is called the Dickey Amendment. I want you to remember that, the Dickey Amendment, because everyone should be very familiar with this. It should be taught in schools. But it seems ridiculous that like you would just not want to research into something that is killing thousands of people every year. And the only explanation could be that the NRA was paying Jay Dickey tons of money, which there's proof of that. That's clear. And they just talked him into doing it, and everyone kind of looked the other way. It's pretty sad. So the Dickey Amendment was rolled back slightly in 2018, but in today's political climate, it's unlikely that spending will actually be allocated to gun violence research. And researchers may be hesitant to like start a project, something that could last years, if there's a chance that it's going to be shut down immediate or at the whim of a politician. It's really depressing. And meanwhile, uh, lives are being lost every day. There's a new story out there about someone being murdered every day. It's sad. So, why did the NRA put the kibosh on this research? Um, well, in addition to the CDC finally looking into gun-related violence and how to prevent it, um, I the NRA was doing its own research, and I had the opportunity to talk to a whistleblower. Um, I won't reveal names because I want to keep getting information. But I talked to this whistleblower who had been high up in the NRA, and they showed me secret documents that prove the NRA, in association with top gun manufacturers, had already done its own research into gun violence in the late 80s and early 90s. Uh, they had spent a lot of money on this, and as with any private organization, they were able to get the best and brightest to look into it. And they had found conclusive proof that they were selling a product that was objectively harmful to humans and was the sole cause for thousands of deaths annually. Uh, they had a smoking gun with their fingerprints all over it, uh, to use a metaphor and not so much a literal metaphor. They had this proof. Uh, I'm trying to think of the exact. I wasn't able to keep the documents. I could only look at them, and I only had a limited amount of time. Lots of graphs, lots of stuff labeled proof. Um, but there was the bottom line was that if guns were made illegal in the United States tomorrow, we would save thousands of lives a year. They showed that people don't turn to knives or or explosives or other forms of violence, other weapons. They didn't turn to other weapons to kill people. The gun wasn't there, people wouldn't get killed. That was the conclusive proof they found. Um, Now let's look at the time when they had discovered this research and were sitting on it. Of course, they weren't going to release it to the public. There's no way. It would hurt gun sales, and that's all they care about. But in the 90s, when the Dickey Amendment came out, there was also this major lawsuit against Big Tobacco, showing that they had research that cigarettes were bad for you and could kill you, and they were being sued for this, which they ended up losing in 1998 with the Master Settlement Agreement, paying out billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. So uh, the gun industry didn't want to have to shell out hundreds of billions of dollars, obviously. So they shoved through the Dickey Amendment, which continues to kill people to this day. They didn't want the CDC finding out their research results with their own research. So yeah, the Dickey Amendment put an end to that. And so their secret is safe, and it's unlikely that anyone else is going to find out the secret. So this is all depressing stuff. What can we do about it? Right now, very few people know about the Dickey Amendment. It's not a household name. People don't realize that the CDC can't do research into gun violence. They can't prevent these gun deaths. So the first step is for us to talk about the Dickey Amendment as much as possible, raise awareness. Whenever another of these shootings come out, be like, hey, why can't we do research into how to stop this? If guns are so okay, if they're not the ones causing the deaths, then shouldn't gun nuts be okay with us doing research into them and proving that they are safe? They should. Let's clear the good name of guns by getting rid of the Dickey Amendment and allowing research. This is something that we should make very clear in public. The second thing you can do is don't shoot people. Um, it's pretty clear. We don't want more people to die from gun violence. Surefire way not to shoot people is not to have a gun. If that's too much, then let's teach gun safety. Let's make gun safety a requirement for anyone who owns a gun. Right now, it's not. Anyone can just pick up a gun. Um, but really, what would provide more proof for what we could do is getting rid of this Dickey Amendment and let's do some research. I'm going to end at that. If you have any questions or ideas, please comment below. Please support the truth by subscribing to the Conspiracy Laws channel and sharing the truth with your friends. We'll be back on Monday with an episode about how Republicans are using abortion bills in state legislatures to distract from what the administration is really up to. You won't want to miss that, I can assure you. We're going to do a really deep dive there. In the meantime, think about what we uncovered today. We awake the world tomorrow.